Hi, my name is Delphina, and I just wanted to give a brief commentary about some issues brought up in the videos of a Creole witch who calls herself Fluerbrun. You know, she does UFO disclosure, and like she says, try to vet things out for yourself. Don't just believe something because someone else is saying it. So with that in mind, one of the issues she brought up is that she believes that all the people who have been in MK Ultra or Project Bluebird or other super soldier programs are automatically from the lower bred ET lines that tend to have low impulse control and high rates of incest and violence, manipulation, predatory behavior, dishonesty. I wanted to say that that's not true of all people who have been brought into those MK Ultra programs. I myself had some involvement with that. I have been an alien abductee since birth. I spoke in complete sentences at 9 months old. And I was a science major. My father, he's black as charcoal. My mother's also very dark-skinned. And my dad, he is in the Air Force and has a degree in engineering. I myself, I've never had a problem with the types of things that Fluerbrun described that have been issues with the lower bred lines of hybrids like Nature Not or Carbonation, whatever that guy was calling himself. So regardless of whether it's black low-bred hybrids like the Nature Not guy who had his compound full of HIV and letting his own son play with his genitals and having sex with children, little girls. Those black male low-bred hybrids, they did those things. Most people already know that white male low-bred hybrids also do those things. And also average everyday human beings. But there are individuals like myself who have had involvement with the federal government. We're not like that. We're not all predatory or incestuous or lacking in impulse control. Like Fluerbrun said in regards to the individuals involved with super soldier programs. And also a lot of us don't even get paid. You and another person could be hybrided with the same species in a government program, but if you don't look like a Caucasian, then the probability is much higher that you will not receive pay for the illegal things done to you, and they'll also drug you forcibly in the effort to make you forget everything they did. And that's not for national security. It's because, you don't look like a white hybrid. Only the Caucasian-looking ones are acceptable to them, and that is human behavior, human primate bias. Granted, there are some non-human beings who express some of the same types of biases and low behaviors like animals. And that's because those ethnic groups of ETs are not your creator. They're created beings. There's a very big difference between a creator and a created being. And there are higher bred hybrids who have been involved in some of the undocumented and very illegal government programs without consent. There's the higher bred individuals who are not incestuous and not sexually perverted, not pedophiles, not running around sleeping with everything on two legs. There are higher bred hybrids who do have more compassion and morals and self-control, but do we get paid by the government? Do we have the freedom to retain our memories? No, not like some of those lower bred ones. And this one guy who they introduced me to in an illegal program, I was only 6 years old. My family doesn't even know. You know, this guy, he's several years older than me, and he's from one of the lower bred hybrid lines. And he has had sex with animals, and he has an attitude towards sex like anything goes, because he's from one of the lower bred lines. And people in the government, they don't care about that. All they care about is that he looks like a Caucasian. So you have higher and lower bred Caucasian hybrids, just like you have higher and lower bred hybrids of other races. But you know, all people, all hybrids involved in government programs, they're not all sick, like the people in Carbon Nation and like some of the people in the secret space program of America. That's not all of us. You know, and a lot of us were broke. You know, and I guess, let me think. Is there another issue I wanted to speak on that she mentioned? Oh yeah, she was calling on the women of the Arab nations to feel more comfortable with uprising, and she was saying that the Arab women outnumber the men 10-1. I looked at the statistics a few years ago, and according to the statistics that I read, it indicated that Arabs actually have a lot more men than women. It might be correct, it might not be, but if that's the case, then that means there's a lot of men in those Arab countries who don't even have a male, I meant to say who don't have a female to lay with. You know, African women, we give birth to more male than female children, and if they're trying to practice polygamy, they're forcing young men to commit homosexuality or bisexuality, just like Sodom and Gomorrah did. You know, so I think there's a small possibility that Fluerbrun could be wrong when she says that Muslim women outnumber their men 10-1. You know, if the statistics that I read are correct, they don't. The men outnumber them, and that's part of the reason why they're struggling and can't really rise up against their own men. And the truth is that here in America, there were white women who were killed by their own husbands and who lost their lives while fighting for civil rights and gender equality. You know, it's forward-thinking women who were looking at the bigger picture. And there's a book called The Dark End of the Street that talks about these white women who collaborated with women of other races to begin their own uprising here in America to fight for civil rights and gender equality. You know, and The Dark End of the Street paints a very good portrait of that. So, regardless of what country you live in, as a group of females, if you want to improve the quality of your nation's government and your nation's culture, you have to accept the reality that someone might kill you. You have to be willing to die for it. You know, there are women in this country, there's white women who died for it, killed by their own husbands. There's black women who died for it, killed by some of their own neighbors. As females, if you're going to do an uprising, you just have to swallow that hard truth that, yes, you might die. There's no way around it. When you are challenging males, they might kill you. But there's long-term benefits to it. And America's not perfect. There's still a lot of gender inequality and a lot of injustice. But it's not quite as bad off as what it was. So if Muslim women are going to do an uprising, you have to accept the reality that some of your men will kill you, but there's a silver lining because there's long-term benefits. It might still be kind of bad later, but it won't be as bad as what it is right now. If you answer the call of women like Fluerbrun, who are saying that you have backup from higher powers and that you just have to know how to recognize it and know how to go after it to get that backup for your uprising in your country. And so, I guess that's all I'm going to say for right now.